Story 1. I feel secure and not jealous for once. I feel loved for exactly who I am, flaws and all. It's not like he ignores my flaws. He gives me advice when he sees I have a problem. He also shares his most vulnerable feelings and makes sure to spend quality time with me. Story 2. It's hard, especially if you're not used to it or grew up in an unstable home where constant fights and toxicity shape your perception of love. However, if you put in the work, which must be mutual, it's incredibly healing and calming, like being wrapped in a solid gold blanket of each other's souls. You don't have to be perfect, but having enough self-reflection, a willingness to work through adversity, and a common goal to build the relationship is essential. Sometimes you have to lead, sometimes they lead you. It's a 50-50 effort. However, there are times when you must be the strong one for them and vice versa. Overall, I believe it's the best thing there is, despite being the hardest, but it is worth it. Story 3. I am in a healthy relationship with myself. It is important for me to know what I can and cannot control. I encourage myself to complete my tasks effectively. I listen to my intuition. Story 4. I think so. One of the things I appreciate most about my partner is her strong interest in psychology and understanding people. She excels in relationships. If I have an issue and she doesn't notice it, I start to second-guess myself. I admit that I am not always rational when I reach a conclusion slowly, but I'm working on improving. I feel that the longer I am with her, the better partner and person I become. Many people say similar things, and it may sound cliché, but I truly mean it. She is an amazing woman who inspires me to be a better man. While I want to improve for myself, her encouragement means a lot. It motivates me not just in a traditional sense, but also in a creative way. Story 5. We have been very happy for more than a decade. We both allow each other to be our own individuals, and we are partners in everything we do, whether together or in discussion. Good communication goes a long way in life and love. Even though we have been married for 13 years, we still date. Sometimes going to the grocery store together without our children is a date, or walking the dog together a little longer than usual. We support each other and take an interest in each other's passions or hobbies, even if we do not necessarily enjoy them ourselves. He likes watching sports, and I enjoy reading and painting. I understand the rules of sports, so I can talk to him about it, and he enjoys hearing about my books or watching me paint. He asks questions about both activities, which shows that he actively listens when I talk. Both partners just have to work at it. Sometimes it is really hard, and sometimes it is not. Story 6. It is wonderful, but also very calm. There is very little drama, minimal disagreement, and many laughs. Story 7. The sense of belonging is hard to describe. I have never really felt that a home was permanent until now. In the past, I would go on vacations or travel and dread the experience ending and returning to regular life. Now I feel homesick. I appreciate the space my wife and I have cultivated. The dynamics we have discovered in terms of personal space, encouragement, humor, intimacy, managing life's challenges, and finding joy in each other's presence while engaging in our own activities are meaningful. We could absolutely pack up and move anywhere else, taking all these things with us. Life is full of uncertainty, but I no longer feel anxious about where I am. I love where I am and who I am with. I also trust her deeply. It is a given, and typing that reminds me how easy it is to take it for granted and underappreciate it. But it is true. I am not just talking about basic trust requirements like fidelity and caring for our pet. I mean, I trust her with my emotions and vulnerabilities, and she recognizes my needs even when I do not. I strive to reciprocate this trust and respect, and it feels rewarding to do so. Being a good partner is a valid reason to exist. It is not the only reason, and it is great that we encourage each other to pursue our interests and manage our own happiness and health when we can. There are tough parts too. You cannot always solve each other's depression and anxiety. Sometimes you just have to be present while the other person is sad, and it can feel frustrating to be unable to do more. My wife and I happen to be from different countries, and navigating visa processes is challenging and creates stress. While I do not have anxiety about our home, I experience anxiety about the state of the world. My wife is looking for a different career path, which adds to her stress. There are no easy answers to those deep discomforts about reality. It is comforting to have someone reliable to vent to or to enjoy a comforting movie with, but being in a healthy relationship does not eliminate those problems. It does mean that you have someone to look you in the eye and agree that, yes, you are not overreacting. Some things are simply difficult and unfair. That connection is invaluable. I am a more emotionally fulfilled person and am consistently becoming a better individual because of the relationship I am in. A relationship should not be the only source of fulfillment or self-improvement, but if it is not providing those aspects, then it should be examined and potentially ended. Story 8. I married a woman who creates life, love, and beauty wherever she goes. After 35 years, we can complete each other's sentences. Our goals in life are aligned, and we see eye to eye on most things because we communicate openly and respectfully, listening as much as talking. However, allow me to address the underlying concern behind your question. Nobody asks that unless they are not in a healthy relationship and do not know how to have one. If you are complaining about your series of failed relationships, remember this: healthy relationships are not a matter of blind luck, like winning the lottery. Instead, the health of your relationships is the result of your own choices. The people you invite into your life, the treatment you are willing to accept, and how you choose to treat your partner. If you have endured unhealthy relationships, it's important to take an objective and honest look at your role in those events, even if it means uncovering painful truths about yourself. It's easy to blame the other person, but it's not nearly as easy to reflect on your own actions. Consider this. In every healthy relationship, there are three parties involved: you, your partner, and the relationship itself. While you honor your partner's needs alongside your own, the needs of the relationship take precedence over the needs of either individual. This balance prevents you from neglecting your own needs and encourages you to examine what keeps a relationship healthy. I hope this helps. Story 9. Peaceful, fun, and happy. Life is hectic and stressful, but a good foundation and relationship help you navigate all the stress. People often say that marriage is very challenging. Life is challenging. Your partner should help make you stronger. Story 10. It feels amazing. The goal is to improve further and breathe in fresh air. We pour love into each other while motivating one another. I couldn't ask for more. Story 11. Yes, I am. It is difficult to reach this point, but once you are here, you feel like you are in the best moment of your life. It is important to work hard on your relationship every day. Story 12. Our relationship requires minimal effort. We trust and respect each other, get along well, and rarely argue. Story 13. This is a different answer, but it may resonate with some people. I grew up in a volatile, unstable environment and, as an adult, always had short-lived relationships that were different flavors of bad. The last person I truly loved was someone who calmed my nervous system rather than activated it. I had never experienced this before. I trusted him implicitly, and his mere presence relaxed and comforted me in a way I never questioned. It was the first time I wasn't driven by uncertainty and a wound that always felt unlovable. We are at very different points in our lives and have gone our separate ways, but I will always hold a space in my heart for him. I never understood what that kind of peace, security, and unconditional love felt like until I met him. Thank you forever, M. Story 14. It feels comforting to know that someone loves you for who you are, flaws and all. This makes the fact that I don't know when I'll see him next all the more depressing. Story 15. I feel safe and trusted. I do not feel like I am constantly being devalued. I feel loved and cared for. For once, my feelings of love did not fade after a few months. They continue to grow stronger. Story 16. We are comfortable with each other. I believe we have a healthy relationship. It was our 23rd anniversary in January. Things between us keep getting better. Story 17. Yes, I love her and she loves me. I honestly think I have only started learning what love is through this relationship. It is amazing to walk by someone and see their face light up because they see you. It is incredible to be unwell and have her come and try to help me. It is wonderful to experience joy by being together. Story 18. Extremely fulfilling. For once, I have a partner I can truly be myself around, and if we have something that's bothering either one of us, we talk about it and resolve it. I can be vulnerable around her, and I never would have thought that I could feel this way. Is it perfect? No, nothing is, but I am in love with this woman. Story 19. It's great. There is no jealousy or questioning. There is plenty of communication, support, and compliments. We make a great team and find a lot of passion in our hobbies and activities. Story 20. Yes, I am. I feel safe, understood, and loved. I feel like my partner and I can discuss any topic, even if we disagree. We love each other so much that we want what is best for each other, even if we do not personally agree with it. Our relationship was not always healthy, and we put a lot of time and energy into it. I cannot imagine my life without him. He is my home. Story 21. Yes, we both make mistakes at times, and we can openly discuss our shortcomings and encourage each other to improve. Story 22. It's nice. I have my own challenges to address, but they are patient and kind with me. They inspire me to be a better person for myself, them, and everyone else. They have their own challenges as well, but I find it effortless to support them. None of us is perfect, but we recognize that we are good people, and our relationship is worth nurturing. Most of the time, it's just good. Story 23. We love spending time together. We don't argue. The affection and intimacy are great. We talk about everything. We motivate each other to succeed and share our achievements. Together for a little more than 4 years. Story 24. It's great to have a partner who wants the same things you do and respects you enough to apologize if they were wrong. Story 25. I think so. It's great when you find the right person. We both see individual counselors for our mental health management, and we also see a couples counselor to ensure we are on the same page. We help each other with tough decisions and support each other through emotional situations. We trust each other fully. We share finances and passwords. We do not go through each other's belongings but have full access. To be in a healthy relationship, you must love your partner, and you cannot truly learn to love someone else until you love yourself. If you love yourself and your partner and they love themselves and you, then you are likely in a great place. Story 26. It is the best thing ever. I am so happy. Even if other things are falling apart, it doesn't matter because I have my husband, and I cannot help but feel happy. Story 27. Maintenance. The power balance is often like a seesaw. Whenever you feel that the other party has too much power, they probably do. If it remains that way for too long, it is not healthy. That is my perspective on it. You must work to find the balance. Story 28. Yes, I am focusing on self-growth and removing unnecessary weight from my shoulders. I appreciate myself and love who I am. Story 29. It is very challenging and requires a great deal of patience, sacrifice, and effort, but it is still much better than dating. Story 30. It is very challenging and requires a lot of patience, sacrifice, and effort, but it is still much better than dating. Story 31. I guess everyone's version of healthy is different. However, we respect each other, understand what the other needs and when they need it, and ultimately know we are a team. We do what we can to help our teammates. Story 32. My partner and I are in a long-distance relationship. They live in the United Kingdom, and I live in the United States. We generally give each other space when we need it, but we always try to check in. It's not always easy since we both have mental health challenges that require professional help, but I'm fortunate to have them in my life. We strive to support and understand one another. Story 33. Both of us can be our authentic selves. We share whatever is on our minds, even if it sounds crazy or we are full of fear. It is an amazing space where we can do our own internal healing and bear witness to one another's lives. We do not try to change each other. We encourage and support one another. My partner sees me for exactly who I am, good and bad, and loves me through all of it. We both choose every day to show up for one another. There is no guilt tripping, manipulation, or control. It is an easy choice to love him, I also want to mention that we have both been in relationships where we felt our bare minimum was too much. We have had to work really hard to heal wounds that made us feel inadequate or caused us to be unpleasant partners in the past. Being in a healthy relationship involves two people doing the internal work without trying to change each other or forcing the other person to see things their way and choosing to show up for one another every day. I hope you all find this love. It is magical. Story 34. I do not feel the need to be constantly attached to him because I trust him. In a relationship I had a few years ago, I always wanted to be with the guy because, even though I wouldn't admit it to myself, I didn't trust him. Story 35. Peaceful is the best way to describe it. I have a friend who thrives in toxic relationships, and she said she couldn't be in mine because she would be bored. We talk about issues but never argue or disrespect one another, and we always try our best to support each other. We are both really independent and do a lot of things on our own or with friends, but I love coming home and sharing what we have been up to. I grew up in an emotionally volatile environment, and this peace and calm is the best. We have been together for just over 10 years. Story 36. It's hard sometimes because we both experience depression. I can share embarrassing things like how I was worried he was flirting with his coworkers, and he responds with disbelief, which makes us laugh and helps us move on. I can express what's bothering me, and he provides support. It's challenging because I often self-sabotage. I'm not living up to my potential. He supports me but also pushes me because he believes in me. Sometimes I just want to run away and let my depression take over, but the love we have for each other is stronger than the fear. Story 37. I feel safe, respected, and cared for. I don't overthink in his presence. I'm not afraid of his touch. He not only hears what I have to say, but also listens and understands my needs. Feels great. Story 38. I'm finally with someone I completely trust, someone who puts in as much as I do. At first, I thought it was kind of boring due to the complete absence of conflict and melodrama. When you get used to constant conflict in relationships, it can feel less passionate at first, even strange. A year later, it's the most fun and passionate relationship I've experienced, and it feels safe and comfortable. She's the most wonderful woman I've ever loved and one of the best friends I've had. Story 39. It's very nice, and I say this as someone who has only been in unhealthy relationships before. We started out unhealthily but learned to move past it. I decided that if I wanted to be with him, it required much more communication, boundary setting, and compromise than I was previously giving. I believe part of having a healthy relationship is that both people actively want to be with each other and are willing to do the actual work that comes with it. Recently, I figured out how deep the trust goes in healthy relationships. My boyfriend and I encountered an issue, and despite everything going on, I maintained trust in him even when I thought he was being unreasonable. If we were still in our unhealthy relationship phase, I definitely would not have had the same feelings or reaction as I do now. Story 40. It's awesome. This is my wife and it's our second marriage and we finally got it right. There's trust, love, communication, and understanding, and it's such a relief and so relaxing. There is no questioning what the other did or where they were because the trust now outweighs all those negative thoughts. Soulmates are a real thing, and I'm finally a believer. Story 41. I am in the most wonderful relationship. We met on Bumble and moved into our first flat together in September with our cat. He is so caring and thoughtful and makes me giddy with excitement. We have never raised our voices at each other or had a reason to. I grew up in a family where if I dropped a glass of water, I would get screamed at. If I do it now, he just says boo-boo, and I clean it up while he laughs. He's my best friend, and I never thought I would find anyone so perfect. He does the cooking, and on Christmas Day when I was working, instead of driving to see family, he stayed home and made a homemade roast dinner, spending 6 hours just on the gravy. I did tell him to go and see his family, but he refused, saying he didn't want me to be alone when I got home. We make each other laugh all day, every single day. When either of us goes out, we don't bombard each other with texts. Just a message to say we are back safe is enough for us. I work 12 hours for 4 days a week and look forward to cuddling in bed every single day. My family all loves him and have since the day they met him. He is a gentleman, My grandmother said he is one of the two most perfect men she has ever met, the other being her uncle who raised her. For my first birthday together, he bought me tickets to see my favorite band, and last year he took me to Turkey. We have a 50-50 relationship, and I love him more every single day. We also candidly talk about our exes without any jealousy, as we both acknowledge our pasts. He moved into my university halls after long distance became too much for us. Before that, he would drive 3 hours every other weekend, which turned into most weekends just to see me. I feel the happiest I've ever been. Story 42. Never jealous. I feel supported, heard, cherished, and loved. My opinion is as important as his, and my input is wanted. We are on the same page regarding finances, values, and children. We respect and trust one another. Together for almost 23 years, we have disagreed about things on occasion but have never had what you could call a fight. We do not yell or curse at one another, and we never call each other names. I walked away from many unhealthy partners before I met my husband. I was happily single and planned to stay that way when I met him, so make of that what you will. Story 43. A healthy relationship involves mutual respect, open communication, and the feeling of safety to be yourself. While it may not be perfect, it is peaceful and fulfilling. Story 44. 12 years and it feels like the home I never had. I can simply exist. When I fail or make mistakes, I am met with patience and growth rather than anger. There is no pressure to be perfect or to meet society's unrealistic standards of beauty. We discuss our needs instead of panicking when they are not met, and we handle it together. It is incredibly nice. Story 45. Lots of communication, love, genuine caring, and great intimacy contribute to a general feeling of well-being and belonging. Story 46. We celebrate individuality in our relationship and communicate consistently about what healthy codependency looks like. We are very vulnerable and honest with each other. We express our love frequently and share what we need to feel safe and loved. There are challenges. Currently, we work opposite schedules, so we rarely see each other. We actively communicate every day about how we can support one another. I just wish we could spend more time together outside of physically sleeping together each night. However, we are navigating this situation honestly and ensure that we convey the importance of being in each other's lives. Story 47. I just got out of a situation that was starting to become unhealthy. Looking back, it may not have been healthy in the first place, and I ignored it because I cared too much. Story 48. I feel I am in a healthy relationship. I have been married to my wife for over 7 years and have known her for 21 years. I want to spend my free time with her and would do anything for her if she is feeling emotionally or physically down. I wholeheartedly care about her every second of every day. That being said, I also understand that we are not attached at the hip. I recognize our desires to pursue different passions in our lives and support each other in our pursuits. Time apart sometimes helps our bond grow stronger, and personal time is important as well. We have done things that have helped, such as joining our finances together. We make decisions based on our goals and know we are both supporting our plans in unison. This approach has always worked for us and alleviates any stress related to financial issues. Additionally, we make joint plans for saving and envision what our future together will look like. I believe we have been fortunate to find our true partner in life. I often think about growing old with my wife and envision those moments in my mind. Despite the positives, any relationship is a work in progress. We do have arguments or disagreements from time to time. However, we have improved our ability to communicate openly and recognize that our love is stronger than any disagreement we might encounter. We have gotten better at resolving these trivial matters together. A healthy relationship feels truly wonderful. I know I am fortunate to have found this and feel immensely blessed. I do not take this for granted for a single moment. When I look at my wife, she appears more elegant and beautiful to me every day, even as we age and develop a wrinkle here or there. Story 49. I believe it is easy to communicate. If something bothers me, I express it and we discuss it in return. He is honest, dependable, and kind. He has been supportive during both good and bad times. He is wonderful and makes me very happy. Story 50. I feel safe. I had a difficult marriage full of emotional, financial, and verbal abuse, which led me to build a strong wall around myself. He has never pressured me to open up or do anything that made me uncomfortable. He patiently listened when I was able to share my struggles and has given me the space to work through my emotional challenges in therapy. We communicate well, despite both having past relationships that were abusive and lacking healthy communication. Story 51. It has been 15 years of being in a healthy relationship, but I remember the initial feeling of finally being able to relax and be my true self. I suddenly felt capable of excelling in anything and everything because someone loves and supports me, rather than holding me back or feeling jealous. Provided us both with immense freedom. While maintaining a loving relationship requires effort, there is also ample opportunity for rest and enjoyment. Story 52. It's cool. I can bring anyone home, and the same applies to them. Then we meet afterward to finish what we started. Story 53. Having a sense of calm means not waiting for something bad to happen, and knowing that I do not have to approach difficult discussions carefully. Story 54. I have been in a relationship for about 6 months now, and we are both each other's first relationship. She grew up very independent, and I am definitely a caretaker. I love having someone dependent on me to an extent, of course. As much as that has been a learning curve, she has been able to relieve some stress by letting me take care of her from time to time. Having a healthy connection with someone for the first time is truly an amazing feeling, and it is a high I hope never ends. Story 55. I feel loved. He does not need to tell me he loves me, though he does. I feel it whenever I see him, and his actions show me every day. I don't feel insecure, and I have no doubts. He can hang out with whomever he wants, and so can I. We feel safe knowing we are dedicated to one another. I have been in many toxic relationships, and I can tell you that the first time you enter a healthy one, it makes you question your entire past. Story 56. It feels comfortable and easy to spend a moderate amount of time together while still enjoying our separate hobbies. I hang out with my friends and he spends time with his. There are no feelings of doubt or insecurity. We check in with each other frequently and communicate if there's something we need. We share the same goals, even though we sometimes disagree on how to achieve them and need to compromise. Feels like home. Story 57. We have been together for nearly 20 years. Every day I feel like I hit the jackpot. We take time to appreciate each other. We have learned to celebrate each other's strengths while also supporting each other's weaknesses. We understand what is important to one another, so we put in the effort to ensure that is taken care of. Story 58. Yes, we are happily married in our 25th year as a couple. It feels like being with my favorite person, and I look forward to growing old by her side. Story 59. It is important to see each other as equals. This does not mean that you have the same personalities, likes, or dislikes, or that you do not have different strengths and weaknesses. Instead, it means that there should not be one person who worships the other or puts them on a pedestal, always feeling inferior. And there should not be one who looks down on the other, makes excuses for them, settles, or condescends. You should know and appreciate your own worth as well as your partner's, and feel that you are equals. Mutual respect, zero contempt. At our wedding 30 years ago, my father-in-law presented us with a challenge. He placed a normal sheet of printer paper on the ground and asked us to stand on it together for 10 seconds or more without hanging over the edges. There are different strategies. Does one person lift the other? Do both hold one foot in the air? Do they step on each other's toes? Does one person dictate the actions? Or do you argue, negotiate, or instinctively choose the same solution? Do you use your words? Or do you physically demonstrate or position the other person? For us, after some awkward shuffling and a few what if we false starts, we grabbed hands and pulled up to stand on tiptoe, both balanced with both feet on the page and leaning into each other. Does it mean anything? Maybe not. It is just a silly wedding gag. However, my father-in-law said it serves as an illustration of how you might tackle future challenges. Of course, it does not really work if either of you knows the point of the test. That would be cheating. Story 60. I have been married for 18 years, and of course we've had our problems just like any other married couple. What stands out the most is that whenever I'm down or having a bad day, everything gets put aside, and we are there for each other. We don't have to tell each other when we're having a bad day because we can sense it. We share all chores equally. It is very important. I help my wife make dinner, and she helps me fix the car. We both live our own lives, although we're together, and we offer support to each other. If I want to stay home all week and play video games, I can, and if my wife wants to go shopping all week, she can. We give each other an incredible amount of space. If I want to go away on the weekend to hang out with friends or family, I can, and if my wife wants to take a vacation with her friends, she can. We trust each other without any hesitation. There's nothing lacking in our relationship, so there's no need for us to worry about infidelity. Our sex life is very important, and we make sure to find time for it, no matter how tired or busy our schedules are. From my experience, no relationship starts out like this. It takes time to build. Sometimes you will run into problems, but you have to prioritize what's important. Around the 5-year mark, you've probably done everything together, and it can get boring quickly. Love can start to fade, and you may get annoyed with each other. But the truth is that's how every relationship can end up unless you want to keep starting over. You just have to communicate and work together to find that balance. And when you do, it's an incredible thing that can last a lifetime. Story 61. When you realize you actually trust someone 100%, I can say I trust my wife with my eyes closed and mean it. She met me when I was at my lowest, and we built our life together. The truly healthy part of our relationship is, 1. Each of us has our own world and can have our own hobbies and friends, but we also engage in many common activities and interests. Friendship is the most important part. If you enjoy being with your loved one as much as you enjoy being with your friends, you have won at life. Story 62. My partner is very sweet and kind. I feel secure and loved for who I am. We can be playful with each other without fear of judgment. We have our flaws, but we don't hide them from each other. I can truly be myself around him. Story 63. We trust and care for each other, and we communicate openly. We also help each other. I do the dishes and cooking, while she handles the laundry and dusting. It's like having your best friend live with you around the clock. You just feel at ease. Story 64. It was terrifying at first, after a lengthy history of toxic relationships. Feeling wanted, cared for, and considered was completely out of the ordinary for me. I didn't realize how low the bar was for me until I met my fiancé. We had a rocky start since I was still so used to constant fighting, manipulation, and abandonment. We took some time apart so I could heal a bit more before we started dating again, and it definitely helped a lot. It is truly a blessing to experience what real love is. Story 65. I don't know if it's healthy, but we love and support each other. We're both on the autism spectrum and found each other through a failed dating app match. It's approaching 6 years since we met, and she has gone from my girlfriend to my best friend to my fiancé and someday my wife. During our dating days, I would see her on the weekends, driving an hour from home on Saturdays to be with her and driving an hour back on Sundays. Ready for work on Monday. We messaged daily, but it was mostly just memes, GIFs, and funny videos. We're now living together, and honestly, we don't spend our downtime together. I have my little corner of the room for gaming, and she has hers. But we love and support one another, and I always give her cuddles in bed before falling asleep. Our sex life is nearly non-existent, but she's asexual and I'm very low drive, so we manage okay. We are unlikely to have kids, but apart from our parents being upset, we're okay with it. Story 66. No, I'm not, unfortunately. We both come from toxic, dysfunctional homes. I am receptive to criticism regarding myself in order to grow, while she is extremely defensive and dismissive. The relationship has to revolve around her, or we do not understand one another. I just recently ended things and I feel good. Story 67. It's not perfect all the time. Often we assume that healthy means perfect. We still fight sometimes, miscommunicate, and disagree. The reason I know it's healthy is that even when we do all of these things, it's never disrespectful. It's never as long as one of us apologizes, depending on who's wrong. We're individuals outside of our relationship, not just a couple. After acknowledging this, it's great. We exist together and have so much fun. We talk about everything and nothing. I can be authentically myself with him, and I assume he feels the same. It's often about having core values in common. Love doesn't feel like it does in the movies with butterflies and hearts. It's as simple as not seeing each other for a few days, melting onto the couch together, enjoying takeout, having amazing intimacy, and then cuddling while watching funny videos, singing, and eating ice cream. I'm so lucky to be in a healthy relationship filled with all of this. Story 68. It feels safe, cozy, and warm. Boring, but in the best way possible. I am not on high alert about what could go wrong, and I cannot remember the last time fear was even in my mind. It is very healing for the heart. It is like being with a best friend whom you trust so much that the thought of them hurting you would not even cross your mind. It feels like that is the default. Story 69. I had a thought the other day that real love isn't about thinking one another is perfect. You don't love someone in spite of their faults, and certainly not because of them. You love them because it comes naturally. Sometimes I feel inadequate and insecure, but I feel safe knowing that my significant other has never done anything to make me doubt them or their feelings, and I can talk about it. One of us can have a bad day, and we try to make it better. We plan little surprises for each other. Nothing big, just like booking a restaurant one of us has mentioned, or saving down a new show that the other might like. Sometimes we disagree on things. They may let out a particular kind of exhale when I do something that irritates them, but we know how to disengage respectfully and not hold on to little things that don't matter. We also speak up when something does matter. None of this cures my massive case of anxiety. One of the hardest lessons I keep learning every day is that you can show up for someone and care for them and about them, and still not have everything together. Being supported and cared for makes it easier for me to do the same, and I can show how grateful I am for that love in other ways that I hope connect with them. It's work in a way similar to cleaning your house. If you love it, are proud of it, and want to keep it in at least working condition, you have to spend time on maintaining it. Some days you can't be bothered, and it may look a little worse for wear. Some days you feel inspired, and it gets a deep clean, making you feel so proud that you can sit back and admire it. But no amount of work will fix anything if the foundations are rotten and you don't feel safe. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.